Hey, and yes, guys, it's the final episode. I just want to say thank you for sticking around, and I really appreciate it, guys. But you already know new what ifs are popping up soon, so all you have to do is just sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy. I already posted a brand new series over Anime King 3 of What If Naruto fused with Minato, Kushina, and Kurama, guys. So go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And also remember, if you're new and this is the first time hearing my voice, yes, I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day. Yes, that's correct, every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead, click that red subscribe button, become part of the Anime King family, and thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what do you say we just leap into this news episode? And also, guys, remember to turn on that bell notification. New what ifs are coming up soon, so yeah, just relax. And let's begin, guys. So the last part that we had left off, Naruto was facing off against Moryu. A distance away, someone was watching behind Kushina and the priestess, as Naruto clashed with a massive demon. The both of them flew up in the sky, as Moryu tried to stop Naruto, but he was nowhere close powerful enough, as Naruto sliced him down to pieces before tearing his wings off and beat him down into submission. Moryu just did not stand up in any way. He was just no match for Naruto, as Naruto proved that time and time again by slapping him around and throwing him in his place. Moryu got angry and released a massive attack, but Naruto released flames that were hot enough to burn the very air itself as he extinguished the attack. Once he was done with the demon, Naruto absorbed the soul of the thing. He then proceeded to go down towards the ground where Kushina was, as she rushed and clutched onto him, hugging him tightly. The priestess was at awe. As she bowed her head, the others, the man behind her, told her not to do that. It was not befitting for someone of her stature. She told him to shut up and bow their head after seeing what this man just did, as they bowed as well. Sometime later, as the priestess and Naruto was talking, as he told her that he was the one that indeed created the shrine and left behind the sealing of Moryu, and he had spoke to the first priestess. He did not left behind any counsel, so he didn't know why they were having a talk in the matter of it. As the priestess realized he was right, but the village that she was in was currently at a suffering age right now, as Naruto told her that he will try to speak to the Uzukage, but she will have to show her loyalty to the man. But he was a kind man, and he would accept them, as she was very thankful. The next morning they head out, as they were making their way back towards Uzu, as Naruto had found another tablet inside of Moryu's place, as he had read another note from his friend as well. Things that became much more clear to Naruto as he just simply walked. It was then that he noticed something. He told Kushina to go to the town nearby, as they were going to rest there. It was then that he set a trap. As he captured the man, it was Obey. It was the same envoy that Hiruzen had allowed to scan Mito memories. The man was not entirely human, as Naruto could sense that, as Naruto broke him down with just a mere glance. Naruto's hand became so deadly that Obey started sweating in fear. He was gonna die as he felt it. He was not meant to feel fear, but he was gonna die, as he made a proposition with Naruto to give him information in terms of him living through this, which he did. It turns out that the traitor was the one responsible for making Obey. But it also turns out that people were after Kushina, mostly Hiruzen Sir Toby, as he wanted an idea of Jinchuriki and he would stop at nothing to have it. As Naruto allowed the Obey to move a slight inch as the man fled for his life, knowing that if he stayed he would die. Obey returned back to Konoha and reported to his leader, a man that was in a shrine tomb of sorts, He seemed rather old, with long hair. As the man smiled when he heard that Oda Naruto was back, he told Obig that in the past that the things that he saw in Morio was nothing really special. In the past, their techniques, their attacks, were more even catastrophic and deadly than that. As Obig was shocked to hear that after what he saw between the shinobi and Morio. Meanwhile, Kushina and Naruto got a room as it was just one room remaining. She was panicking to think that she would sleep in the same room as him, but he told her to take the bed, that he would take the floor. At least that eased some of her worries as she went to go and take a bath. She returned sometime later as Naruto stood there, as he was speaking to the person that was always speaking to him within his mind, the sentience of his blade. As he started to care for Kushina as a student. A student and a teacher relationship between the Odas were a very sacred thing. And as time go on, he started to really care as well. As the voice told him that he was always closing off his heart to certain things. It was now a chance for him to at least live a little bit. He was alive now. It was no point of him closing off himself. As Naruto promised Kushina that he would take her to the festival, so they could watch the fireworks. So yeah guys, that's basically what I thought. If you guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. So it's a leap into this final episode guys. Kushina's eyes sparkle as she and Naruto walked through the village, as she looked at all the stalls and the games. The small children that ran around in masses, playing ninja or acting like they were saving a princess. She even saw the preparation of a play getting formed. She really hoped that she would see it before the night was over with, as she was wearing a decorative yukata from her mother, a gift for her 14th birthday. It was mostly red, with a pink undershirt, with a dark blue toby tied behind her, as there was some soccer pedals dancing amongst the end of her yukata. On the back was the symbol of her clan swirling in a shade of navy blue, as she was wearing simple socks and a pair of Geta sandals. She loved this yukata because not only was it a gift from her mother, but when Naruto saw her in it, he told her that it contrasted perfectly with her red hair, as she had found it incredibly hard to speak, as her face had turned incredibly red. Speaking of her favorite blonde, he was walking with her. He was in his usual calm and collected stature, fit for one of nobility, but she could clearly see the ghost of a smile on his face. He was dressed in his usual clothing, which she preferred because it was decorative and was stylish for a festival. She always wondered how he can keep it clean from his battles and spotless. No blood or tears. Just another mystery, she guessed. However, she did notice something was different with him, as he was close to her side. With his intimidating gaze, any guys that was around her age saw him. They ran away rather quickly. Most girls would have found this rather bothersome, but she liked how he blocked off those boys. But still, there wasn't any way that she would like those boys. Her affection was already stolen by the blonde, so she wouldn't like anyone else. As her eyes caught a stall with a game that made her eyes sparkle in delight, as others were trying to hit the balloons with 10 senbon needles, she looked up towards the blonde. "Look, Naruto-kun," she said. "Can we give it a try?" He raised the eyebrow as he looked towards the game. As he looked towards Kushina, "Sure," he said. She brightened up as she gave the owner some Ryu, as she started to give it a try. However, due to her excited behavior and her lack of handling senbon, she missed quite a lot. She puffed her cheeks out in frustration. "No, this is hard," she said. Naruto noticed there was a plush red kitsune there. He remembered her pajamas, as he decided to give it a try, as he paid for his own set of senbons. As he threw each, all of them popped their balloons and stuck into the wall. "Whoa," said Kushina, as the others were in shock as well. As Naruto pointed, "I do believe I've won. And I want that one," said Naruto as he pointed towards the toy. Ignoring the gobsmacked look on the shop owner's face, as he got the toy and shakily handed it to the blonde. Turned around, he gave it to Kushina. "Take it," he said, as she slowly took it and hugged it tightly to her chest, as she looked up with a soft smile. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," she said. "Aw," the onlooker said at the scene, at how cute it was. As she blushed in embarrassment as she turned. "Let's go see what's over here, Tabin," she said. As Naruto looked rather amused, until he caught sight of a single golden hair clip. As he bought the hair clip as he channeled some of his power into the accessory. The symbol of the Oda clan flashed into it before it vanished. As he followed the redhead. Time skip. This was the best time of her life. That was an absolute fact. She hadn't had so much fun in so much years. Even when she was a kid. That was the only time she could remember having so much fun. But still, this time surpassed it. The festival was fun and all, but the fun factor came in spending time with Naruto. The kitsune plush that he got her. Although he was kind of teasing her about her pajamas, she loved it all the same. As she hugged it to her chest as her eyes glanced towards Naruto every now and then, who sat at her side. As they sat aside one another, a play was being formed that told the legend of the great warrior that defeat the demon Moryu. It was rather amusing to watch. A man in royal clothing with a blade taking down the great demon. And it was also fun to give a teasing jab at the blonde, who found the play to be a bit ridiculing. If the slight twitch of his brow was any indication, he found it a bit hard to watch. Still, Kushina built up the courage as she leaned her head on his shoulder, as she gave a content sigh, as the blonde looked towards her. "Thanks for the great night, Naruto-kun," she said, as she snuggled up deeper on his shoulder. "You're welcome, Kushina," he said. It was an hour later we find the duo heading back towards the inn, as Naruto suddenly came to a stop. As Kushina looked towards him, "Is something wrong, Naruto-kun?" she said. Kushina watched as he got close to her face. Her face became incredibly red. However, he pulled out something. A hair clip. "Here. While I like your red hair, it gets in your eyes most times. So let's tuck it in a bit." She was unable to speak, as he tucked her hair to the right before putting the clip in. As he gave a nod, it suited her perfectly. "I was right. You look more beautiful this way. And I can also see your eyes better. So that's a plus as well." As Naruto was completely unaware what his words were doing to her right now. As they replay over and over and over in her mind, her affections and feelings for the blonde hit an all-time peak at that level. As she looked up at him with that strange look in her eyes as Naruto noticed that. "Kushina," he said. But she just kept on looking at him, not saying a word. She didn't know what came over her. What empowered her to move? What pushed her to do what she was about to do? As she reacted, without thinking as she moved, she held onto his clothing as she pressed her lips against his own. She didn't know what take over her. As she kissed him, for what felt like eternity, but in the span it was only just 2 seconds. But to her it felt like eternity. Despite his lips not moving or anything, it still felt heavenly to her. As she pulled back, "I don't know what come over me," she said. "But I'll say it now because next time I won't have the courage to do that. So I'll say it," she said, as she took a breath. "I don't know what is it that you have that put these effects on me. But, without a doubt, I love you, Oda Naruto," she said. She then ran off, leaving the wide-eyed blonde there, as he watched as she rushed towards the inn. "Well, you gone and done it now. I must say I never knew that it was gonna happen this fast. Although I must say Kushina had a lot of courage to take the initiative like that. Now the only question remains, what will you do, Naruto?" "I'm conflicted," said Naruto. "Naturally, but this is your chance to experience what love is. And Kushina is the perfect person for you. Strong will. An unbreakable one to be exact. Determination, like your own. The nerve to oppose higher echelon's position in the world. It will take some time, yes, but I'm sure that the both of you will work out." "And how can you be so sure?" said Naruto. "Just trust me on this. I mean, after all, I'm you. And who knows you better than yourself?" "Maybe," said Naruto. "Good. Now I can't wait to see, a couple of years from now, the devil children that both you and her will bring into this world." As Naruto's eyes started to twitch. "Now you're going too far, you overgrown lizard," he said. "Am I? You're the last Oda alive. You're gonna have to start to think about your clan future soon." "I know that," said Naruto, "but right now, we have more important things to worry about." "True, but still it's gonna be something you need to think about. But for now I suggest you go back to the inn and make sure that she's alright. I imagine that she's in shock for what she just did. And she'll be too embarrassed to look at you for a long while." "Of course," said Naruto as he cut the link off. As Naruto paused and glanced up towards the sky. "What should I do in this situation, mother?" he said. Time skip. "I want you to remember this, Naruto. In the world that we live in, where there is war on an everyday basis. I can be the only one to tell you this, not as father and son, but from clan head to another clan heir. When the Oda clan enter the battlefield, we are expected to overcome all obstacles. There can be no defeat, no slight victory. There can only be the drive to win, the overwhelming force to win, without anything stopping us. We Oda, as you know, are a warrior clan, but we are so much more. As such, we need to keep our mark in history. We must strive and survive during these times of conflict. If we are persecuted to be monsters, then so be it. Nothing else matters but the clan survival and honor. I taught you this since you can walk, and you have grown to know and understand these words, to understand the severity in them. But when it comes to us, the highest echelon of leadership in the Oda clan, it comes to us to lead our people into battle. As a clan head, it is expected of me to determine our battle, when and where to strike, and how to utilize our strategies. As such, I know that our people would die in war, that is a given. But as head, I aim to empower our people and raise the morale with our overwhelming power to face the limitless odds that are stacked against us. Yet, when it comes to you, my son, it falls upon you, not as the heir to the clan, but as my personal successor to lead our people into the thick of battle, to plunge into the sea of war, to be the sight that lay waste to our enemies. You will spearhead our forces. You will be the one to show the true might of the Oda clan. I have seen your power for myself, and already you have surpassed my expectations by leaps and bounds, and you have yet to reach your full potential. Your power as it is now is a perfect example to show the clan full and true might. I expect nothing less than perfection from you. The armies of the arrogant daimyos dare to march upon our soil. The dreads, the demons of hell threaten our border, and the stability of heaven is weakening with each day that passes. The war of all wars is coming, and I expect you to be the one to face these threats with all the power that you possess. You must muster up every ounce of power in your body, mind and soul for you to stand up on top of these threats. And when you have achieved this, I can allow you to undergo the rite of ascendance between clan heads and clan heir. However, I must warn you, my son, with all the power that you have and the power that you expect to obtain in the future, under no circumstances should you lose yourself to your own power. With as much power as you will come to achieve, not even the gods will dare to oppose you. But with such power come great responsibility. That responsibility will be yours, and you should never let that power come to consume you and devour you. You are your power master. You are the king who keep your power in check. You are the god of your soul. You're the only one that can truly master and control all of that power. I say this because where I fail, I expect you to succeed me and do this. And once you do, only then can you truly ascend to your full potential. Do not fail me, my son. Icy blue eyes creeped open as he saw the darkness of the room that he had slept in. The slight snoring of his companion was all that he could hear as he sat against the wall, his blade on his shoulder. As he glanced towards the shogi screen, showing the night sky, as the moonlight bathed the island, as he looked directly towards the moon, hanging above the earth. Your words ring true, father. But it is more complicated than that, he said, as he reached into his robe and pulled out his necklace, turning his gaze on the centerpiece jewel, as he raised it up towards eye level, right towards where the moon was coming down, as he could feel the majestic power just by holding it. This was the source of his predicament over his own power. When the blonde felt the pull to his soul, he narrowed his eyes as he clenched his fists. His decision made, as he picked himself up and placed the jewel back under his robes, he walked over towards the sleeping Kushina, as she was holding on to the small toy, calm and peaceful as she slept. It had taken some time, but he was able to console her after what she did. Her confession surprised him, and his respect for her rose after that. He was still conflicted about this, but he decided to trust in his partner's words and give it a chance. His skin was turning paler as the minutes passed. Before anything else, I must regain control of my own power, so I don't endanger those close to me. As he placed a hand on her head and rubbed her hair in a soothing manner, he then pulled his hand away and pointed his index finger towards her forehead, Sleep well, he said as he put a small spell on her to keep her asleep for the next few hours. He turned towards Shogi door and walked open as he slid the screen back. Then with a mental command he planted his hand on his and Kushina room. Bakudo, number 90. Hakisho. Soshikai. The entire room that him and Kushina was staying in was engulfed in a golden barrier. Those that were not in tune to the spiritual world would not be able to see this, and they will be caught under the spell effect. So if they came there, their mind will tell them that the space was not there. And by chance someone like Obi tried to get in, the ill intent will alert Naruto, and he would get back in time. Knowing that she would be safe, he vanished. Once he was out of the village at the borders, as he found a desertable place. As there was a waterfall as he stood on top of it, he knew that once he was done the effects would be seen. As he sat down and crossed his leg, his katana over his lap, as he closed his eyes, as he went inside. Inside of Naruto's inner world. It's been some time since I've been here. Naruto opened his eyes as he saw the representation of his power, the manifestation of his world inside his soul. The familiar scorching feeling hit his senses like a tsunami. The rumbling of the volcano was all over. The blackened soil break and wither underneath his feet. He glanced up as he saw the three suns hovering in the sky. The biggest was a red sun, as it was scorching everything, even the air itself. The wind itself felt like it was burning under the sun, intense heat. The second sun shined a dark shade of azure, which was smaller compared to the larger sun. And then there was the final sun, which was the smallest out of all of them. It was jet black, with a mix of green and purple on the outer edge. Naruto felt nostalgia hit him after seeing his inner world after so long, but he felt a disturbance in the air. He turned his head before he vanished, and appeared a distance away, as he looked down a massive steep crater. As he glared down towards the center of the crater, as he felt a rumble, something was coming up to him. It was a dragon. The ground cracked and break under the beast's immense weight. The lava coating its feet did not bother it in the slightest. It was 10 times bigger than Morio. Its crimson scale gleamed. Its 4 wings were curled up toward its back. Spikes start from its head going down. It had 4 horns on its head that curled. It opened its mouth slightly as Naruto saw the razor. Sharp fangs. The beast's eyes, though, was a pair of glowing azure orbs that radiated both power and wisdom. Eyes that were similar to that of Naruto's. I have held back the influence from spreading in your body, but I've reached my limit. I hold no power over this side of you, and that jewel not only seemed to be reawakening him, but it's making him stronger as well. Like Naruto, the spirit inside him also felt the disturbances happening inside of the core of his soul. The cause was a jewel, that was for certain, but the effect of what it was having on the blonde's mind, that raised alarm bells in his spirit mind. As Naruto's eyes narrowed even more, as he looked deep within the center of the crater. I see, your efforts are appreciated, but I shall deal with it now, said Naruto, as Naruto jumped straight down towards the edge. As the dragon glanced towards him as he leaped down. You may be able to best it now, Naruto, but when the true test begins, there is no definite winner, Naruto. This is merely the preliminary beginnings to what you have to face when the test really begins. But I believe that you already know that, don't you? After all, him and Naruto were one in the same, and he knew the difficult task that the blonde had to face ahead of him. Meanwhile, Naruto's feet touched the blackened soil, as there was a crouched figure right there. As he looked upon the form of what could be a man, however it was sealed to the ground. Multiple javelins and blades stabbed through it, pinning it down. Most of his body was wrapped into white cloth, but it was burning away into ashes. Finally was a massive chain wrapped around the thing, several times over, but the chain was rusting away, and the seals were eroding away in ash as well. The javelins were turning dark, and they were breaking away. The body was bulging as the remaining weapons started to push out, as Naruto looked towards the figure. So, the jewel's power, although considerably suppressed, has weakened my seal to this degree in such a short amount of time. It's only been a few days since I found it too. No matter, As Naruto grabbed hold of his katana and pulled it out of its sheath, azure flames started to lit up all around Naruto. It started to leak off his body. The heat amongst the atmosphere went up to incredible degrees. "Now, awaken and face me, Akuma," said Naruto, as his body exploded into azure flames. The figure bulged once more as same azure flames exploded from it, blowing away everything that bound it. The figure had a cruel, wicked smirk on its face. "It's been so long. I've been waiting for this though, Mao," he said, as the figure was shown to be a man that was identical to Naruto in every aspect: hair, height, physique. He was dressed in the same clothing as Naruto, however, it was all inverted, and it was just 2 shades of black and white. His skin was pale as a corpse. All in all, he looked like an inverted twin of Naruto. However, his presence was completely different from Naruto. It reeked of malice, killer intent, and those gleaming wicked eyes and that smirk. As it stood, its power rose more and more until the ground underneath it cracked and melted away. It had long canines that looked more like fangs than anything else. "Now, let's have some fun," he said, as a katana just like Naruto's except inverted in color materialized in his hand. As the both of them moved, their blades hit, and the world was enveloped in a massive explosion. At the same time, at the land of grass that was caught between Soki no Kuni and Hai no Kuni, it really lived up to the name of Land of Grass. It was really hard to go through the land. Only the expert shinobis there that knew how to move through it. Because the grass were high, the jungles were tall, it just seemed to stretch on endlessly. However, it had 2 bridges that split the lands apart. The first was the Tenchi Bridge, that spanned, splitting Hai no Kuni from the other. And the second was the Kanemi Bridge, that connected the 2 lands together. It was one of the main structure of the grass, and it was protected by the country militarized forces. However, if one were to look at the bridge closely, you would see that the Great Shinobi War was taking its toll on it, as the bridge was mostly used right now for the Konoha ninjas and the grass ninjas to travel back and front into deeper enemy territory, a means for them to get by undetected and allow them to save their energy than going way around. They could just take the bridge. Even in the dead of night, the Konoha shinobis took the bridge to get towards the hidden stone for their assault. True, some enemy forces have always tried to take out the bridge to cut Konoha transportation, but they were always met with opposing forces that stopped them from harming the bridge. However, what no one really knew was that below the Kanemi Bridge, where the river flowed, was a narrowed walkway that someone could use to get by. It was in the night, below the lookouts, that someone was walking by an apparition, as it stopped to reveal that it was Obake. As he moved to the land mass and tapped it with his finger, a single surface lighted up before the walkway simply break apart, revealing a giant stairway in the wall. He stepped directly inside as he sealed the entrance back up. There was a vast network that spanned over all of the elemental nation, but there was many seals to stop people from getting in. However, Obake bypassed all of those, as the walls started to light up with torches, as he was walking rather calmly. After all, the next stage of his Shishao plan was a bit away. He was only here to get that plan ready, with the key of that plan being sent out to the field. As he finally found himself in front of 2 giant oak doors, he stepped and pushed the doors open, revealing an enormous chamber. He was instantly blasted with a dark presence. It was powerful, but still nowhere near powerful as his Shishao or Oda presence. "Ah, the pet of the old man has come to greet me after so long. Tell me, why are you here, you hollow husk?" A cold, wicked voice spoke from within the darkness. If Obake was offended, he did not show it, as he simply responded to the entity. "Shishao had tasked me to tell you that he is in need of your capabilities, and since you owe him, you must and you will obey him." The full force slammed down on Obake with so much malice, but he did not tremble or anything. He would not give away any weakness. To do so would not only slander the name of his Shishao, but it would cause his death. A mirthful chuckle came out of the chamber. While I admit I do owe the old man that death, that doesn't mean you have any sway over me. So it will be best that you mind your words before I rid you of your existence. Perhaps, but I do think that what he has tasked for you will be to your liking. The Uzukage has demanded a summon to the third Hokage and the Fire Daimyo, a meeting concerning the incident on the failed invasion on the village of Uzu. I see, but I fail to see why he would need me on a matter like this that is better left to the current day shinobi. Here is the reason. Shishao believed at the summon that the Uzukage will have the bodyguard, the same man who we've been waiting for. The ear became rather tense as the figure let loose a chuckle. Ah, no, this is interesting. So the man your master has spoken of is finally awake at last. Finally, the infamous Oda Ear himself make his presence known. Let me guess, you want me to be there to fight the Oda? As Obeg nods his head. That's correct. He wishes to assess the power of the Oda, and seeing that you're rare, few in the world can do that. He wants to see the capability of his power. Whether you live or die is none of his concern. Only that you prove to bring out some of his stronger abilities. Well, I could care less for the purpose of this. But now that I know I can finally fight someone that will give me a challenge. Tell your master of course I will be there. Now be gone from my sight, you wretch. Obey merely nodded, but he scoffed at the entity nerves. He became intangible and walked out. The figure got up as he walked towards the outdoors. So I finally get to face someone strong in this day and age. The shinobi of this era are too weak-minded, too pitiful to even be called shinobis. Hopefully this man, the Oda Ear, can rejuvenate my urge to fight once again. But I do know this without a doubt. My return shall shake the shinobi world. Now I wait to fight the man worthy of such praise that even the Jubi fought and lost to. I will show this world the true might of a god. A fully mature Sharingan could be seen in the pitch black darkness as a person chuckled to himself. Time skip with Naruto. Naruto's eyes slowly open up as they show an intense amount of heat before they slowly return back to normal. As he sat there where he was, his vision allowing him to see the immense pressure that his battle in the inner world had on his surroundings. And he was not disappointed. What was once a forest, flushed and lively, was now a burning ash. Everything was just gone, turned into dust. There was no life presence, nor would there be any after a very, very long while. Thankfully though, the entire country was not destroyed in the process. As he glanced up toward the sky, it was reaching dawn. That means Kushina should still be asleep once he got back. Hey, keep an eye on Akuma for me. I doubt he will be active for some time until I accumulate the missing piece of this necklace. But to be sure, understood, the voice said in his head, as Naruto slid his katana back in his sash before he moved off. Meanwhile, Konoha, Hokage's tower. Sir Toby Hiruzen was having one of the worst days that he ever had in his life. The pressure of the second Shinobi War was something that he could handle, of course. He could handle village matters and plan for where the teams must be sent out for the handling of this war. This he could handle. What he couldn't handle was the amount of problems that seemed to just be stacking on one another. The first shocking one was that Tsunade Senju's own student, the last living Senju alive, granddaughter of his sensei, Hoshirama Senju, had abandoned Konoha. The sheer audacity of something like that was hard to believe. But when he had summoned her and she did not show up, he sent Jiraiya to look for her. She wasn't at the Senju compound, nor was she anywhere within the village. Hiruzen thought at first that she might be kidnapped, but that idea was quickly tossed through the window. Not only for the fact that anyone tried to infiltrate Konoha under the current war protocol would be found, but Tsunade was just too skilled for something like that. This just leads him to believe one thing, that Tsunade had found out about something that she shouldn't have, and with the recent death of Nawaki pushed her to the edge. The fact that Jiraiya found her headband embedded into the portrait of Hoshirama solidified his fear. Thankfully, he was able to stop the political backlash and the loss of morale by saying that she was on a long-term mission behind enemy lines. Still, with her gone, It meant it crushed the perfect teamwork of his students. And he also lost a huge driving force as well, as she had no doubt inherited her strength from her grandmother Mito. Strength that could topple mountains. She was a walking tank, and he had lost that considerable amount of force, and the loss of her slug summons that she could split into multiple to heal an entire army within minutes. Some from even life and death wounds, not to mention their acid that could kill off an entire platoon, that could even melt through the strongest earth jutsus. Truly her leaving was hurting the village more so, for students as well, especially Jiraiya. But he just prayed and hoped that the reason why she left wasn't what he think, that she overheard something that she should not, and she fled the village. But the question came though, where exactly did she go? Where could she go in this time where war is prominent and is spreading throughout every country? Nowhere was safe, and he expected that Uzu was still repairing himself after what happened, and she couldn't go there either. With the blood grudge that they had against Konoha right now, it would be a death sentence. Speaking of Uzu, after a few days after Tsunade depart, he received word from Kenshin. The man was demanding an official summons of him and the fire daimyo at the Hinokuni Palace. He was even using the ancient laws that was set back in the shinobi and daimyo days back then. The Kushina Shuken, a move that any kage or daimyo are able to use in intense stressful situation without anyone being able to say a word about it. It involved a kage, and not to mention the said daimyo of that country. With a law, one could summon the entire elemental nation's daimyos if the severity of the claim was that catastrophic. Of course that had yet to occur, but the power of such summons show how problematic this really was. He or the fire daimyo could not back out of summons. Kenshin was using long-time laws that could not be broken. If they did try to ignore it, it would look bad in the eyes of the daimyo, and put Konoha in a state of even worse backlash for ignoring a law that was set by their forefathers. And he couldn't allow that. But just by reading the document, he could feel the hate and loathing that Kenshin put into it, and that made him already extremely uneasy about how the summons would go. He had made sure to destroy any evidence that was left behind, but he still believed that Kenshin had dig up some dirt that would make Konoha look horrible, destroy their reputation even more. The man was incredibly resourceful, and when push come to shove, he would literally drop a bomb on you for his clan's safety. As Hiruzen was worried, it could go either one or two ways. One with the fire daimyo threatened to release all of his forces that will crush Uzu for their accusations, or it could go really bad for Konoha. Not for Konoha though, for the entire fire country. He saw firsthand the power that Uzu wielded. They repel a 3-nation attack force, and not to mention that unknown element that performed feat that only Madara or Hoshiram was capable of doing. And things were even worse when Obey returned a day ago with his latest mission report. It turns out that the unknown element was seen with Kushina Uzumaki. Hiruzen was surprised. He thought that Kenshin would have kept his daughter at Uzu. Obey gave a full description. A tall man, 6 feet 3 inches. He was wearing the clothes fit of a daimyo, long golden hair tied in a ponytail, similar to Jiraiya. His eyes were a deep shade of azure. This made Hiruzen thought of one other person that had similar features, and that was Minato Namikaze, Jiraiya's student. Could they have a link? Possibly. There were rare people with such gold hair and blue eyes as these two. Minato after all was an orphan with no recollection of who his parents were, so probably a possible relative. Then yet again he could be an enemy, so there was no need to get the boy hopes up. This man was trusted with the ear of the Uzumaki clan. That told Hiruzen right there that Kenshin was confident enough to trust this man to walk with Kushina. That meant he had full trust in his strength and power. What made things worse was when Obey told me that this man fought a demon, the legendary demon Moryu, and trigger a literal unactive volcano to explode. And the way Obey mentioned that the demon used an attack that looked similar to a Biju bomb, and the man overpowered it without even showing that much effort. It made Hiruzen feel terrified to think that someone is out there holding such power. As Hiruzen had read books when he was younger, he heard tales of the demon Moryu, that nearly plunged the world into darkness. And yet this man was able to defeat it. That just spoke volumes of his power. It was frightening to think that someone out there was walking with such power, not being put under control or being watched. There were so many questions though. Was he an ally of the Uzumaki clan? Was he an enemy? Would he be a greater threat to Konoha? Hiruzen did not even know his name, so he couldn't even make a move. And from what Obake said, they were heading back to Uzu, so he could not get Kushina Uzumaki. And he could not send out any forces right now. He had to focus on the summons. He had to have his elite ninjas, including Orochimaru and Jiraiya, along with Sakamu Hatake, focused at the moment. But he knew that Kenshin would not do anything stupid at Hanyukuni Palace, so he had not to worry there. But still, he rubbed his forehead. These problems were becoming more troublesome and more headache worse. However, all the lies, all the betrayals made by Konoha were going to come back very soon to tear them a new one. Time skip. 2 weeks later, Uzu. What in the world happened here, Kushina said, as she and Naruto would be taken back to Uzu. The entire place was militarized up to the teeth, as Kushina saw her kinsmen all watching and scouting from the forest. Last time there wasn't nearly as much control. As Naruto looked out ahead, I will imagine that your fathers decided to prepare Uzu for war, he said. Not surprised seeing that they were attacked by 3 other nations. As Kushina nodded, know that she thought about it. That make a whole lot of sense. As the both of them were on the boat. I can't wait to see you all, she thought to herself, thinking about her mother, sister and father. I can't wait to tell them how much happened on this trip. It was then that she gazed towards the blonde, as her cheeks turned red. Surprisingly, the last 2 weeks had not been awkward, as she thought it would have been, since what happened, with her confession and all. As Naruto had consoled her though, because she was deadly embarrassed. She couldn't even look him in the eyes. Honestly, she never knew how he would take to her confessing like that. But he wasn't repulsed or disgusted or anything like that. He was understanding. Although she still had much to learn about him, she felt like she made a huge step in the right path. A soft smile graced her face as she looked towards the blonde. Even though she was certain about how she felt for him, she needed to speak to her mother about it. About how she felt, if only, to have her wisdom of how to strengthen her bond with him. As Naruto caught her gaze, "Is something wrong, Kushina?" he said. She shook her head. "Nothing at all," she said. "I'm just happy, that's all." Meanwhile, Uzukage's tower. Kenshin paused as he felt a shiver run down his spine. He didn't know why, but he felt like he needed to have a talk with Oda-san. A talk that involved deadly threats, katanas, ninjutsu, and a lethal amount of kunais and shurikens. He also felt the urge to safeguard Kushina's innocence. That was weird. Probably nothing he said to himself. Yes, it was nothing he said. Nothing at all. And there we have it, guys. It comes to an end right here. Yes, pretty abrupt, but you know already that new what is are coming up, so you don't have to worry, just sit back, relax, and yeah, enjoy, guys. But I'm out for now, see you guys soon. Peace.